little.
Keep it bouncing.
That's right, keep it bouncing. This is On the Stick After Dark, and we're bouncing our way into Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons. I'm Joe Drilling, and bouncing along with me from the great white north of Canada, where it's actually on fire right now still. Still on fire?
Not here, presently.
Not
I
around
hope.
where Mike is.
Is there something I should know?
Further north and west, it is still on fire
Yes.
a little bit.
Yeah, the fire has moved west. It's not our problem anymore.
All right, okay. I think it's all of our problem in some way, shape, or form, but... Anyways, that's Mike Ailes, and also...
And now I'm too depressed to go on with the show, so I'll talk to you guys later.
Eric Allen is taking his leave. All right. So this is Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons, which is weird because Rise of the Dragons is the name of a different game that is technically not actually a Double Dragon game, but is kind of sort of a Double Dragon game. It's a sequel to the fighting game for the Neo Geo that was based on the movie. But this game is also called Rise of the Dragons, so I don't know. Anyways, this is it's a roguelike beat 'em up. Which is a thing that I feel like I'm surprised hasn't been done more.
But it has been done by the people that made this game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they did. Well, they did Streets of Red, which I haven't actually played, but have heard some people say is really good, and heard some people say is quite bad. So I'm not sure if they've done one before this. I'm not sure that I've played any of the other games. But so the hook here is that, so this is a soft reboot of the Double Dragon series, which kind of most games in the series, it feels like, have been that lately. Like Double Dragon Neon was that. Even going far back as Super Double Dragon, was that. The fighting game on the Neo Geo, which also got a PS1 port in Japan, is based again on the movie, so I guess also kind of a soft...
A live-action movie?
Yes, correct.
Holy shit.
The game is pretty fun. It's a pretty decent little fighting game. I mean, it's on the Neo Geo, so it's like, it's like the 15th best fighting game on the Neo Geo, but it's decent. It's a decent enough little thing. Much better than Double Dragon 5, which was also a fighting game, but that was based on the Saturday morning cartoon. And ooh boy. Also, Eric and I got new mugs last week. Wait,
Oh. Is that Double Dragon mugs?
no, it's the Stuff Tiki mug.
Yeah, mine's sitting in a box behind me. Pretty cool.
I'm drinking blue raspberry black bear soda out of mine tonight.
I think you'd want to put like a root beer float or something in there.
Well, I don't have any vanilla ice cream, Mike, so...
That's a lot of work.
That's right.
A lot of work, yeah. You put ice cream in a jar and then you add
right.
soda on top of it.
More than anything, I think washing it out of this thing would be the task on that one. So apparently, in this version of the story, the dragon's father is the master of the dojo, and he's missing. And then they have this uncle named Mateen, who is sort of their guardian ad litem. And then Marion, it's not clear whose girlfriend she is in this one. She's usually Billy's girlfriend. Or she's whoever wins the fight at the end of the first arcade game's girlfriend. But she does not get damseled in this game. You can play as her. So there's a couple of hooks to this one. The first hook is that you choose two characters and you can tag between them. So if you're playing two-player, you have a total of 4 characters that you can choose, but you can tag between, kind of at any given time. So you have Billy and Jimmy, of course. You have Marion, who, again, not a damsel in distress this time. She is fighting alongside the twins. And then Uncle Mateen,
apparently.
with a gun. She's supposed to be a cop, which was taken from the lore of Super Double Dragon, although you never actually see her at all in Super Double Dragon because it was kind of rushed out. The instruction manual talks about how she's a cop who works sort of in tandem with the Double Dragons, but you never see her in that game. So I think that's where that comes from. Uncle Mateen, who I actually haven't played as at all yet. And then there's a bunch of characters you can unlock. I, of course, unlocked a Bobo first, because why wouldn't you? Burnov, Chin, Linda, Machine Gun Willie, Duke.
Sorry, Burnov, is that the mask guy from Double Dragon 2?
Correct. Yes, correct.
Burnov. I was like Karnov, but
But
he doesn't burn things.
yeah, I guess. Duke, who is the final boss of Super Double Dragon. Anubis, who is, I think, supposed to be the gang leader from Double Dragon 3, like the NES version. And then, I don't remember her name, but I think she's supposed to be the Yakuza boss from River City Girls. Oh, I think. And then that presumably is the Shadow Boss, who I assume is the final boss. But I haven't actually finished a run in this game yet, so I don't know for sure. But we'll start with Billy and Jimmy, and we'll maybe have time to check out.
I think
some
you mean
other
Bimmy and
characters.
Jimmy.
Yes, Bimmy and Jimmy. And then you can look at all their different. So the other hook is that this game wants you to spam your specials as much as possible. Basically all of your bonuses, bonus money, health drops, it all stems from spamming your specials as much as you can. Which is interesting because games like this usually discourage that. So that's kind of one of the things that I actually do like about it. And everybody has 3 specials, a neutral, a left-right, and an up-down. It's very Smash Brothers. And it just gives you kind of like, so Marion, like the dragons are pretty straightforward. You get the whirlwind kick, you've got the hyper knee, you've got a diving jump kick. Jimmy has a Shoryuken.
Do they actually call it the hyper? Oh, they call it the soaring dragon.
Yes, okay. The soaring dragon.
Was it officially called the hyper knee kick somewhere? Because that's how I refer to it.
I feel like in the instructions of the American release of Double Dragon 2 on NES, they referred to it as the hyper knee, but I'm not positive. But I feel like or some magazine somewhere referred to it as that or something, because a lot of people seem to all refer to that, and we weren't all friends when we were kids, so.
Right, it's got to be that, because I've been saying that for 30 years.
Right, exactly. The Jimmy's Dragon's Rage is pretty funny because he actually does make very anime noises when he does it. Dragon's Claw is like a cool powerbomb thing. Because Marion is a cop and uses a gun as her basic attack, she has a bunch of weapons-based attacks. Her mine is like Zarya's ult in Overwatch. It sucks all the nearby enemies in, so you can just go to town on them all in one big bunch.
That blows their day.
Yeah, I haven't used Mateen at all yet, so I can see what these moves all say they are, but I haven't actually used them in practice. Abobo is big and strong and
Sure.
Does like
sense,
a big AoE. Ground pound is his sort of main one. And then as you unlock characters, you can see what their moves are, but I haven't unlocked anybody else
Throws
yet.
like a can of peppers and like floury sauce at him.
Yes.
Yep.
That's right. It's a mistype. He's supposed to be adobo, but and then I also
Sounds
really
like they made a boo-boo.
I like the NES style sprites that are on the loading screen. Those are pretty.
Yeah.
Those are pretty fun.
Man, I told you I was at an arcade the other day, and they had Double Dragon set up, so I played a little bit with a friend of mine, and he was reacquainted with just how fucking janky the original Double Dragon game is.
It slows down. They pushed that arcade hardware was pushed to the absolute limit, and that game slows down so much to the point where it's almost more fun to play it on emulator, even though it's not accurate. It actually like runs at a normal speed if you play it, if you play like a poorly emulated version of it, it runs better. So
Looks good as hell. The art's amazing
yes,
in that game.
especially for 86. Is that I want to say 86 or 80? Like I think Renegade was 85, Double Dragon was 86 in the arcade. But the third and final major hook of this game is that, similar to Crackdown, of all things. There are 4 gang bosses, and you can fight them in any order. But when you defeat one, the other 3 get stronger. Then when you defeat the second one, the remaining 2 get stronger. And then when you defeat the third one, the last one gets stronger. And so the stages get longer as you... So, like, each stage... Like, you just play the first section of each stage if you choose it first. Then you fight the boss right away. Then the second one has 2 sections and adds, like, a mini-boss encounter that you have to deal with. And then a whole another section that you won't see unless you choose it as a later stage, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the last major hook there. And then, of course, there's the normal roguelike stuff of after each stage you can buy upgrades that last for the rest of the run. So I'm just going to start with Machine Gun Willie, since he's kind of the classic, Double Dragon boss. Ryan Swayze says what's up and asks if we consider the Street Fighter movie a guilty pleasure. So we watched that movie at PAX the last year we all went together, which I think was 2014, and we never we were going to action cast it and then never did. But if someone likes it, I would say it's a guilty pleasure for them. But my problem with that movie is that for a movie called Street Fighter, there's not nearly enough street fighting. It's just kind of boring.
Pretty much no fighting.
Yeah. Jean-Claude Van Damme's speech where he says he's going to kick Bison's ass so hard is probably the best part.
For me, it was a Tuesday. Also
yes,
good.
Yes.
And that interview, the best thing about that movie is that interview that Grand L. Bush did about portraying Balrog for the first time on film.
I'm going to be a bit of an iconoclast and say that I think both of the Street Fighter movies are guilty pleasures because they're both terrible in different ways and they're both hilarious.
I think Oh, you mean both the live action ones?
You mean the
Chun-Li one?
Yeah, Legend of Chun-Li. I watched that on a plane and I laughed for like an hour and a half.
Sorry, for a second I thought you were talking about the anime and I was like, no, the anime is like legitimately good.
It's okay, yeah.
It's not great by any stretch, but it's like the fights are at least like super good, if nothing else.
Legend of Chun-Li has Neil McDonough playing Irish M. Bison with blonde hair and making tiger noises as he moves around. Like, he doesn't make them himself. They overdub them into like the score or the soundtrack of the movie whenever he moves. It's amazing.
That's fantastic. So yeah, as you can... sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I've also just recently watched the season of Justified where he's the bad guy. And that gives me an even better kind of, understanding of where we're coming from with this guy.
There's a new season of
good actor
of Justified, which my dad is very excited about. I still haven't watched that show, but my dad says it's really good. He liked it a lot. So, and I didn't realize until this latest season that it was based on a series of novels by Elmore Leonard. I don't know how I missed that.
Well, I mean, it's based on a short story by Elmore Leonard, and then they work in stuff from some other Elmore Leonard properties.
Right, like this most recent season of the show is based on a book that he wrote that doesn't have anything to do with the characters from Justified, but they retrofitted it to have those characters in it to be about.
But I think he's only ever written like one basically short-ish story that's ever had the character from the show in it.
Yeah.
I think it's basically like the first episode of the show. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. I haven't read a lot of Elmore Leonard, but the one that this most recent series is based on, I have read, and it was quite good.
I actually started watching that show this year, and I kind of binged it. It is pretty good. I got a little burnt out on it because I watched kind of too much in a short time span, and I've got a little bit sick of the main character's kind of foibles. But the writing can be really good at times. And it kind of oscillates between like legitimately really well written and just kind of pulpy kind of fun cop show kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I like both of those things, so
you should give it a shot. First episode is great. If the first episode hooks you, then you can keep watching. One of those rare shows where like it just appears fully formed, and it's just like, nope, this is it. These are the characters.
Got it. All right, cool. So yeah, so you can see that the crowd control, like using your special to get as many KOs at once, is really like that's the main gameplay mechanic. Is you get a bunch of bonuses, you get health items, you want to group up enemies and use your crowd control specials as often as you possibly can. The more knockouts you get with your specials in one go, the more bonuses you're going to get.
The more condiments you get on the hot dog.
The more condiments you get. Oh, eventually you get like a full turkey if you...
Sure.
If you can take out enough enemies, you know, with one...
I prefer my video game meat to come out of a garbage can, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you.
Or the wall of Dracula's castle, I
Yes,
suppose.
yes.
Maybe my first pick in that draft, but...
When are we gonna? When is the next on the stick draft? Sources of video game food.
Yeah. Or just video game food. Where does wall chicken? It's like wall chicken. It's like that hamburger from Resident Evil 7.
What's the... Oh, okay. And of course, because we just don't compose new music for these games anymore, the entire soundtrack, as far as I've listened so far, is just covers and remixes of old Double Dragon music.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, see there, I got a bird, a whole bird for that one. So yeah, I also like the art style. It doesn't look like, you know, like I like this more than Double Dragon 4's sort of attempt to adapt NES sprites that I felt like didn't really. I mean, probably the less said about Double Dragon 4, the better. Like. Double Dragon 4 was not great. But I like the art style in this one. The animation's really smooth. This is actually the first video game I played on my 4K TV. My LG OLED 4K that I got on Prime Day. So I don't know, maybe I probably should have played like Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil 4 Remake or something, but I played this first. And
were you a Double Dragon Neon liker?
I am a double. So I actually haven't finished that game, but I did like it. Yes. I like the soundtrack a lot. I think I've spent more time listening to the soundtrack than playing the game.
Fair. How is this holding up, like in terms of like modernizing like beat 'em up gameplay in terms of?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Beats of Rage 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja
no.
Turtles.
So that's kind of the first thing I've been saying to people who have asked me about it so far is like, if you haven't played those two in particular, like yeah, like or River City Girls, like those are all better games than this so far. You know, but I also have only put like, I don't know, an hour and change into this so far, so this could surpass those for me, but I kind of doubt it. Like Streets of Rage 4, all three of those games are just, I think, like exemplary brawlers from the last, you know, several years. Streets of Rage 4 is so good. So I don't, but I, again, like the kind of rogue, but also like the Streets of Rage 4 DLC adds like a roguelike mode, like an endless battle roguelike mode thing that I really like. So yeah, so okay, so you get at the end of every stage, you get to choose you know, a power up, but your money also goes to your continues cost money. So and then sometimes you can buy chips, and the chips are used to unlock like hidden characters and stuff like that. So I've actually found that if you get the option to buy chips, you should just buy chips because they're pretty rare.
They're also delicious.
Yes, right. But yeah, so it, like, you know, you can buff specific attacks. You can increase your movement speed. You can get health buffs. You can get damage reduction. You can get weird stuff like this. Yeah, when you tag out your partner, you automatically knock down everybody near you. Yeah, you know, all that kind. You increase your health regeneration when you're tagged out, like all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna take this one because I actually haven't taken this one before. And then so you only get to take one ability, even no matter how much money you have, you can only pick one upgrade per character per stage.
All 3 gen seems pretty sick.
Yeah.
But I guess it would only be for that.
It's only for that character, but
yeah.
Yeah, the remaining gangs are increasing their threat, arming themselves with deadly weapons and hiring dangerous mercenaries.
Oh no.
It looks like things are going to be a lot harder from here on. So yeah, so we took care of Willie, and now when you look at the special KO bounty, now you see that all these bosses have a sub-boss, which is just like 3 stronger normal enemies, and then they also have 2 goons with them that you have to deal with. Let's do this. I actually haven't played this stage at all yet, so let's check out the junkyard.
Are there permanent upgrades too, or is it just all?
I haven't come across any permanent upgrades yet. I don't know if, like, if you get a clear, maybe you get something permanent, but I haven't seen any permanent.
This is a
upgrades.
true roguelike.
Yes. Except, well, I mean, except for unlocking new characters, I guess. But
right. No, but that I wouldn't say that that's.
Yeah, no. I forgot, what are my bonus things? 25 special KO and a 50 hit combo. Okay. That's...
This is like in the style of a Spelunky or a
Yeah.
Mining Isaac or whatever. I don't. Are there? So is there a rogue style? Like, are there like potions or anything that change?
Not.
Like, are there any items or anything that you don't know what it does until you pick it up? Because that's like a key rogue thing.
I haven't seen anything like that yet, no.
Okay. So that's one of the cool things about Binding of Isaac, is that does a really nice job of mixing stuff like that in there. There's something about the way this guy smiles that I don't like.
Billy Lee, you mean? Or...
Yeah. Bimmy and Jimmy. I don't know, it's like off model or something in a way that looks weird. But other than that, the game looks very nice.
Oh no, DDP is the leader of this gang. Oh shit.
feel the bang.
Apparently.
Sorry, that's a triangle, not a diamond. It's very, totally, completely different.
Right, of course.
Obviously.
I mean, what if one of these guys tries to hit me with the diamond cutter? Then could we say...
Well, they're pyramid based, so it would be something, it'd be like the limestone chopper or something. I don't know.
Right.
I guess it would just be because it's always a cutter of some kind.
Yeah.
Whether it's an ace or a diamond or a... The K in RKO stands for cutter, right?
Yeah. Randy Cutter Orton.
Yeah, that's his nickname. That's what everybody's always calling him.
You racked up a lot of money, Joe. What happens to all that money?
So if you die with all the money, so you use it for continues, is a big portion of it. But it's if you don't have enough to continue with, or if you just opt to you can just opt to quit instead of continuing, you can trade it for chips to use for unlockables.
Old Bay chips or?
No, like poker chips.
Oh. How are you enjoying the actual fighting in this game? It's a little slower looking than I would have expected.
It is. I mean, Double Dragon, I feel like has always been
Double
slower
Dragon
than.
is pretty slow.
Yeah. That's the complaint I always see when people talk about why Turtles in Time is better than Super Double Dragon, is that Turtles in Time moves a lot faster, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. I also like Turtles in Time more than Super Double Dragon, but I like Super Double Dragon a lot, and the slow pace of the combat doesn't bother me. But yeah, I mean, I like, again, the thing where it wants you to just spam your specials is interesting enough to me that I like that part of it. I feel like we did that when you play multiplayer on Shredder's Revenge, as we found out, it's easy to spam your specials, but it seems like that's a little bit closer to a bug than a feature. And here, that is clearly the design is they want you to spam your specials. Every time your special meter is full, they want you to use it. And I think that in and of itself is kind of interesting enough. Plus the fact that everybody has just a totally different moveset, and you can switch between characters pretty seamlessly. Kind of adds something in that perspective. Again, not as good as Shredder's Revenge, not as good as Streets of Rage 4. In my opinion, not as good as River City Girls, although apparently a lot of people didn't like that game as much as I did.
I don't know what it was about it, but it didn't stick with me at all. I didn't even finish it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really dug it.
I like the style a lot, but playing it didn't make. I don't know. After 3 or 4 hours, I was just kind of all right, I'm done. I think I found the bosses really frustrating and not fun.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are.
There's a psychic guy near the beginning of that game. I remember I did that fight 2-3 times. You know what? Maybe I'm just done.
Yeah, it's probably your fault, Mike.
Could be.
Okay.
Things are getting rowdy up there. Are these guys are like little mummies or something?
Yeah, I guess.
It's an Egyptian.
It's an Egyptian
themed
gang,
boss,
yeah.
but it's also in a junkyard for some reason. It's like I guess a pyramid of crushed cars. Actually, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing what's happening in the background a little bit better.
Ryan Swayze wants to know if we plan on seeing the new Ninja Turtles movie. I do. I'm planning to take my nephews to see the new Ninja Turtles.
That first trailer that came out was pretty good, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm going to wind up seeing it or not. It'll depend on whether my son develops an interest in TMNT or
There
at some
was,
point.
what did I see? I saw a thing where they were talking to the kids that played the turtles, and they like recorded all of the dialogue with all of them in the booth the whole time. Like they were all four of them were together the whole time they recorded all the dialogue.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So like there's more like ad-libbing and like more ripping on the material in the script and stuff than I think is typical for an animated movie. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's still the reason why like Snatcher has one of the of its era probably the best like voice work, you know, of a video game of that era, is because they couldn't afford to like rent out the facility for very long, so all the actors had to do it in the booth with each other instead of doing the line recordings individually. So you get like a much more natural performance. And since this is the first time that the Ninja Turtles have actually been voiced by teenagers, or kids or whatever, that's probably a good way to get a good performance out of the young actors, is to have them be able to see and talk to each other directly.
I guess that's more of a thing. I guess that probably happens pretty often in animated films, but in video games it's pretty rare.
I think it depends on the
video
budget
game brain
available, and yeah. Also, it doesn't make any sense that there would be an announcer in this game, but I like that there is one.
Double kill.
Talking about, yeah, how amazing all of my moves are.
Hello.
Hey. How you doing, Kurt?
What's up, Kurt?
Okay.
Good, I think. That's good.
Yep.
Could be worse.
Okay is good. Yeah, it could be raining.
I like it.
That's true.
I do too, actually. But that's the phrase.
What you been up to for anything fun?
I've been playing a shitload of Pikmin 4.
Oh, nice.
I hear that's quite good.
It is quite good. I had played a whole bunch of Pikmin 3 when it originally came out, and I got distracted by something and I never finished it. And then when the updated version came out, I bought that because then I could play it on Switch. And then I played for a while and then didn't finish it because I got distracted by something. So I was like, oh, Pikmin 4 is coming. I should finish Pikmin 3. And it turned out that I had essentially been almost at the end and not realized it. So it took me like 2 days to finish it. And I did not intend to roll right into Pikmin 4, but I got done with Tears of the Kingdom and was like, well, I'll just fiddle with this a little bit and sort of get a vibe off it, and then I'll go back to something. And I just sort of kept going, and it's been very enjoyable.
You just kept picking those mins.
Mm-hmm. You get a little dog buddy that you run around with, and you can ride the dog buddy, and the Pikmin will jump on the dog buddy and hang on the side. So you can just kind of run around as a big unit. And he has a...
The dog turns you into Randy Johnson? That's fucking wild.
Correct. And so he has a charge move that he can do. So you can charge up and then slam into like a creature or whatever, a wall. And when you do that, you'll launch all the Pikmin off onto the thing in one go, which is pretty amazing because you pretty much just annihilate whatever you were launching at.
I was all set to buy that game as soon as it came out, but then Tears of the Kingdom wound up going super long.
Yep.
And they had announced a new Mario game, and I was like, you know what? I'll buy the new Mario game.
They announced the new Mario game?
Did you not?
Oh,
Mario game
yeah. New Super Mario Brothers. Even though they're not calling
really
it that.
New Super Mario
It
Brothers.
definitely, totally is.
It has some of the DNA. It looks like it's built on the same skeleton, but it has an art style that's not awful, so that's a pretty big step up. It also
Fair
seems
enough.
to have like just tons of great, cool looking stuff in it. Like, I don't know, that trailer was great.
Yeah,
Anyway, I know.
Yeah.
When is
I
that?
know
actually
had my
coming
bread
out?
is buttered on, and I just played Pikmin 3 like 3 or 4 months ago, so
Yep.
I'll hold off a bit.
Yep.
I'm also a little bit tempted by the 1 and 2 Pikmin release that's coming out soon on Switch.
Yep.
If that wasn't clear, I meant on Switch.
Yep. Because why would you not? Aside from Eric, who hates playing with the Switch. That's why he would not. So yeah. So I finished Tears of the Kingdom, and then I played a whole lot of that. I think I'm actually really close to being done. Which is pretty crazy. But
It's been an intense week or so.
yeah. Yeah.
Pikmin 3 wasn't like an extremely long game. They had
No,
a bunch
none of them are crazy long.
There's a lot of
compared
extra
to
stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you had like a couple of like especially the deluxe thing added some side
Olimar
story
campaigns.
things. Yeah, exactly. So there's stuff you
more,
can do
which is
there.
more like chat. Well, I mean, it is campaign. It has like little story bits and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's kind of more a challenge
Yeah,
mode,
it's a challenge
I guess.
mode. Yeah, exactly.
But it was very well done, and I was happy to have a reason to play it. And I was sad when I ran out of like the main campaign in Pikmin 3, but once I'd finished the Olimar stuff, I was like, all right, I think I got about the amount that I needed.
Yeah.
What's the non-Olimar stuff?
Well, the main game of Pikmin 3, you play as a totally different crew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Crew of 3, whatever that species is.
Pikmin.
No.
They are not Pikmin.
No, they're.
I would have
Pikmin.
said the Hokotate, but that is not actually true. They're not all Hokotate.
You're saying the same race as Olimar. The
They're
little,
balloony boys.
Well, but from a
Yes.
different planet.
the
as
little
Olimar.
Muppet, the little Muppety
Yeah.
Dr. Dan and Dr. Don from Point Blank.
Correct.
Guys.
Yes. Those guys.
Cameristico
And
says,
in this
"Hey
game,
guys." Demgut says, "What's up? What's up, fellas?" Sorry, go ahead. Joe.
I was gonna say this game actually has, original Pikmin and Pikmin 2, as I recall. It's been many years since I played either of those, but I recall them being fairly, like certainly Pikmin 1 was like Olimar only, like wandering around on this planet trying to get off, so to speak, so it's sort
And
of a,
Pikmin consent.
yeah. They, but obviously, as Mike said, in 3, you had like a crew of 3 people. This game has a shitload of additional characters in it. You're actually part of a whole rescue crew. There's like, I think 6 crew members, and then you as the new person. You actually create your own, whatever that.
Dr.
Race
Dan
is.
and or Dr.
Yeah.
Don.
Yeah, you create your own doctor.
Oh no, he reversed my controls, you son of a bitch.
The old reversal control.
Yeah.
That's how they get you. And then you also save, like, they do the dungeon thing again, and so in a lot of the dungeons you actually find castaways that essentially Olimar sent out a distress call, and the conceit is a whole bunch of people like saw it and were like, hey, let's go check this place out. And then of course ran afoul of creatures and so on. Also, every game to this point has made a point of you must get all of yourself and all of your pigmen off the planet before nightfall, because oh my god, everyone will go bananas and be scary. And in this, you have night missions.
So you find out how bananas and how scary? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You describe them as nocturnal missions.
I would not. Some may, I would not.
I want to say in the 3, it wasn't even an option to do stuff at night, right? It was like,
Yeah,
as soon
yeah,
as
and all
the
the
sun went down.
and all the other ones, it was like you gotta go. It's time to go. And so you would go. And if you left any Pikmin behind, they were dead.
That's kind of what Pikmin do.
Die.
Die.
I mean, if you throw them right into the maw of a monster, yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yep. So yeah.
Is throwing that guy off the roof not count as a special KO? That's some horseshit. If I don't get the special KO because I tossed him off the building instead of... That's
You
bullshit.
just kind of jumped off the building.
That's a different. It's special in a different way.
Yeah, right.
You wished you were special.
Yeah. I'll also note, Eric is probably the only person that cares about these comments. I decided to revisit the Hushed and Grim, Mastodon's last record, which I was...
Is that the double album?
Yeah, the double album, which when I got it, I was like, eh. So I decided to listen to it again. And I'm still kind of eh. One, it's too long.
All double albums have exactly one
One
album's
good
worth
album's
of material on them.
I know that is Alex's position on this.
Oh, that's my position
like that's
too.
every-
One,
I feel like
one
that's
at
like-
best.
Yeah. But regardless, I think one of the problems I have with it is that the production is such that it's too wet, and so the guitars don't cut through like they should. So there's like riffage that is happening, but you can't really hear it as cleanly. But holy shit, the kick drums on that record sound amazing.
Yeah, I don't think I ever even made it all the way through one.
There are good songs on it, but it's not. I mean,
I haven't really liked either of their last 2 albums.
I liked Emperor of Sand more in retrospect, but they're not a patch on stuff before that, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, their first 4 albums are...
Yeah.
Well, 3 of the first 4, and then there's some really good stuff on Blood Mountain as well, but...
Yeah. And yourself.
Dave the Diver.
Yep, I need to play that.
I'm quite amazed actually at how much I'm enjoying that game. I think it's really great.
How much time have you spent with it?
I'm probably at like 20 hours at this point.
Wow.
I think
And now
I'm
you
kinda
want to be sedated?
Yes. No, I don't think I have 24 hours to go. No, I think I'm probably like 3/4 of the way through. I think your basic completion is like a 20 to 25 hour kind of affair. I wouldn't be surprised if I stuck around a little longer because I'm enjoying, trying to catch all the different fish and things.
You're
like
still
that.
engaged.
Yeah,
at
like I
at
mean,
that mark.
it has a basic loop that can be a little bit repetitive, but they basically break that up like once an hour with some totally random different thing. There's just tons of stuff in this game.
You gotta like poke a bug or pick your nose or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, was it on the stream that I think it was like, you know, using a gas torch to cut into a boat brought up like a new mini game, or, you know, lots of boss fights and things like that.
That was a substantial chicken.
Yes.
It was $100 chicken.
That's
I mean,
what she said.
that's what $100 gets you.
Yeah.
I don't think
That
she used the word
$9.
chicken, Eric.
Rooster, I believe, is what she
Yes,
said.
yes. She said that's a substantial rooster.
But yeah, I just keep wanting to play more.
Nice.
Kind of have a hard time tearing myself away sometimes. Although it's the kind of game that I think plays really well in like 1 hour chunks, because you know, some parts of it can get repetitive if you like sit down and play it for 5 hours,
Sure.
despite their best efforts.
Yeah.
It's very funny and charming. Like it's got tons and tons of great, you know, cool art. These little vignettes. I think some of those were seen on the stream when I did it a couple weeks ago. Like whenever you learn a new recipe, you get these amazing like animations of like the chef like, you know, meditating up on a mountaintop, then jumping down and working in the kitchen, slicing up all these like lovingly rendered vegetables and things like that. So, yep. Highly recommended.
Nice.
As long as you're not too squeamish about eating every creature in the sea, some of which you might be actually morally opposed to eating in real life, but they're just like, fuck it, we're cooking up with these guys.
Sea turtle stew, baby. Let's go. Are there a lot of games that have like the only one I can think of is actually Streets of Rage 4 that let you change the in-game food to like vegetarian options if that bothered you. You could
Dead
switch
Cells
the food.
has a whole bunch
Oh
of
yeah,
different
Dead
things.
Cells. Yeah, that's right. Dead Cells has an option for that too.
I think Bloodstained also does that. Ritual of the Night.
I don't remember that. The reason I remember specifically Streets of Rage 4 is because there's like many options. Like I changed the big food item from the turkey or the roast into like poutine because that was an option. Because it was developed by a French Canadian developer. So.
Wait, Streets of Rage 4 was?
I thought so. Was that Lizard Cube? Aren't they in Montreal? They also did the Wonder Boy 3 remake from a few years ago.
I don't think I realized they were from here.
I think they are.
No, Paris, France.
Oh, they're French. Okay. Well. Is poutine a French thing? I thought it was a French Canadian thing.
Oh no, it is absolutely a Quebec thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Not even Canadian. Don't make the mistake of calling poutine Canadian. All right.
Okay. All right.
They're allowed to make it, but it's from Quebec.
Got it.
One specific region in Quebec.
Really?
Well,
From
it's
the
not
poutine
100% clear like which town, but there's like 2 or 3 places all in the same region that all claim to be the originators.
It's from the poutine region, otherwise it's sparkling French fries.
That's right. Otherwise, they're just gravy fries with cheese curds.
Mm-hmm. I did go see Oppenheimer as well.
I saw it on 70mm and felt like
We
it did
did
not
as well.
felt like it did not take advantage of the format nearly as much as like the Hateful Eight, for example.
I'd agree with that. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah,
It didn't feel like 3 hours to me.
I also enjoyed it, but I think it's going to be one of those movies that gets like a million award nominations that I probably, you know... I've seen movies this year that I thought were better, I'll just put it that way, you know, but I did enjoy it.
Such as?
Yeah, that's what that was.
Skinamarink is probably still the best movie I've seen this year, but you kind of have to have a tolerance for really fucking weird horror movies to sit through that one. Like, there's almost no people in that movie. So... Oh, fuck off.
I think that might be a movie like Blair Witch, where it's either going to work on you or it's not.
Yes, I
'Cause
would
I
100%
tried
agree with
and
that.
could not. I was just like, no thanks.
With Skinamarink.
There was just no, and Blair Witch, there was just no tension in either of those things. Really. So, it's not like Blair Witch, but it just is like either it's gonna cast the magic spell on you and you're gonna be way into it, or it's not gonna work and you're just gonna be like, this is dumb.
I mean, I also saw it in a theater, and like,
Yeah.
it was so quiet in that theater that I didn't even open my Twizzlers, like, for the whole movie, because I thought it would like kill the
movie's
vibe.
very quiet. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I didn't want to be the vibe killer by opening my Twizzlers, so.
No more so than you usually are.
No, right, no more so than my typical.
But yeah, it's definitely like a polarizer.
Oh yeah, no, people who are like, I hated that movie, I'm like, I get it.
It's just like I said, I don't know. It's not for me. Fine.
It's
Kurt was
okay to
saying-
not like things.
Yeah.
It's true.
Kurt, you were saying like it went by fast for a 3-hour movie. I was like, oh, what's the last movie that I saw that did that?
I didn't,
just remember.
I didn't say it went by fast. I just said it
It
didn't, feel like 3 hours.
Was there
Well,
intermission?
the movie that I saw
There was not.
recently
There's
that I
not.
felt that way about was RRR.
I still haven't seen that.
I still haven't seen that, but
Oh my god, you guys have got to watch
I am.
RRR.
Yep, it is. On
I know I'm not gonna like it, so I'm not gonna
Really?
watch it. Yeah,
You
there's
don't
no
think you're gonna
chance.
like it?
Nope. I don't think there's any chance I like that movie.
Huh.
Nope.
Okay.
It's gonna be one of those things where it is like too stupid too fast, and I'm not gonna like it. It's too much. It's like all spectacle and
Oh man, I don't know, man. I think you're selling it short. Also, it actually takes a little while to get really stupid.
okay. Just listening to people talk about it, I don't think it's gonna work on me.
I
don't know, man.
have a little bit of that fear, which is part of why I haven't watched it yet. But
Yeah.
I do intend to at some point.
Like John Wick 4 was right on the borderline for me of
But you see,
that kind
okay.
of thing.
So I watched John Wick's.
And
I haven't
that
seen
movie
John
is
Wick 4.
also that is a movie I like and is also too fucking long. Like if
I
a
haven't
movie's
seen-
more than 2.5 hours long, it's got to be a fucking masterpiece for me to want to sit through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen 4 yet, but I watched 2 and 3 this year in relatively short order, and I like those movies, but they're super one note, and you cannot level that accusation at RRR.
That's a good
That's a
note.
movie with range.
It is a good note, but I
Also,
hear what you're saying.
4
That's
I
a
think
great
is
note.
4 is the one that has like the best choreographed action sequences of any of them. Although
Really?
1 is
Really?
it's barely a movie. It's like 2.5 hours of just wild fight choreography.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they
Um,
all are?
Yeah.
I mean,
First one has
like,
a bit
the
of stake.
first one is a little bit of a movie.
Yeah.
but-
And it's
but
also
two and-
not coincidentally the first one is the best one, but I think
first one
4
is
is
the
the
best
one.
second. The 4 is the second best one. So
Sorry, the best one was the second one?
No, the second
No,
one is the
first
worst one.
is
Okay,
the first one is the best, and then 4 is the second best, and then 2 and 3 are like okay, like they're pretty good.
So I think 3 is better than 2. I think for me 2 is like
Yeah.
far and away the weakest one. It has the weakest villain. It doesn't have.
I can't remember 2 or 3 enough.
I got to tell you, in 3, I can't really remember who the villain was. In 2, I remember who he was. He's pretty punctual.
In 3, it's Mark Dacascos fights like as the sushi chef who.
Right. I
John
don't
Wick,
feel like he really earns the spot of the villain, though.
John Wick 3 or John Wick 4 has.
But John Wick 4 is
4
Donnie Yen.
has 4 like set piece action sequences that are like they're like the raid level like type.
John Wick 4 has Scott Adkins in a fat suit throwing spin kicks.
That's one of
that's...
the ones. There's that one. There's the one on the stairs, obviously, and the
yes.
and the one where he's just like I don't know. I mean, like the whole like
The
last
thing
hour of
outside
that
the Arc de
movie-
Triomphe where he's on the
Right, and then where
yeah.
they're in, they have like the fire shotguns, and it goes into the fucking
Yes,
Hotline.
it turns into Hotline
stuff,
Miami.
and
Yes.
there's some like really fucking incredible
Yeah.
stuff in that movie, but
Nice.
also I really don't know why it had to be over 2.5 hours
Yeah,
long.
it's a pretty long movie.
You really could have just had the stuff that takes place in Paris. Would have been, and maybe in the one scene in the nightclub in, I don't even know where that was in Eastern Europe,
Belarus or wherever the hell it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Ryan
Well,
Swayze
Eric,
got
I don't
this.
know, man. I still think you should give RR a chance because it's really not just this one note
yeah, but
over the
it's
top
3 hours
fight
long.
fest. No, it's
I
like
can't-
3.5 hours.
Yeah, I just can't do it, man.
I mean, you could
It's
do it
too
in
long.
shift. You'd watch it
I'd
at home
probably-
in shifts.
I would
you
probably
know?
like that, and I might like Oppenheimer, but I'm probably not gonna watch either one of those because it's just too long. It's too.
I mean, my recommendation would be to basically watch the first hour and a half and then stop, and then you'll just decide if you want to see more after that.
yeah, I would never go back to it. I can't do that. It's just not. My brain's not gonna do it. It's not gonna happen. The same thing with all like the Marvel movies and stuff. They're
No,
too
but
long.
RR is good.
Okay.
I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was good too. It's been a while since there was like a genuinely
Yeah,
good
but why
one of
can't it be
those,
like
but-
90 minutes good? Why does it have to be 3.5 hours good?
I mean,
I
to
don't
be
think
fair, Eric, no one's
Guardians-
made a 90-minute movie in like 50 years.
No, that's not true. One of the reasons I really like
Raid.
Godzilla vs Kong is because it was less
The
than
Raid.
2 hours long.
Right, but the like average movie length has been over 2 hours. For
I know, and
longer
I
than
don't-
we've been alive.
And I don't fucking watch a lot of modern movies because they're all fucking too long.
Which
Hey,
is
you guys
weird,
remember
'cause
the
didn't
Raid?
Hey,
it...
guess what my major complaint was when we did the action cast about True Lies?
It's way too long.
It's
All
too
James
fucking
Cameron
long.
movies are way too
Yeah,
long.
all James Cameron.
Except for
Except
the
for the
Terminator.
Terminator.
Except the Terminator.
And that's why it's arguably the best one.
Yeah.
That and Aliens.
But the
Yeah,
director's
you
cut of that is too
Hey.
long.
Hey, you guys remember The Raid?
Yeah,
Oh, so good.
That's a fucking good
that
movie.
movie rules.
I should rewatch that movie.
I just rewatched it not too long ago. It's great.
Ryan,
like 100 minutes
Speaking
long.
of probably, I guess, movies that are too long, Ryan Swayze asked if we've seen The Flash. I have not.
I feel like I heard that is
Yeah,
also
pretty
like
much
3
no
hours
desire
long though. But yeah,
to see it.
I think he asks that every week.
I think he
No,
did.
he was asking if we were planning to see it before it came out.
Yeah, and now it's out. And
Now it's out. Now he wants
Still
to know
not
if we
planning
did
to
see
see
it. Yeah, still not
probably
planning
too
to
long.
watch it.
How long is it?
Also, Ezra
90
Miller
minutes?
is a garbage person. I feel like we just
Yes.
it's like a bit at this point.
yeah,
90 minutes long?
that's right. It's a participatory bit with Ryan Swayze.
Oh, it's a tight 144. Jesus.
144 or an hour and 40. 144.
144
140
minutes.
Hey, they couldn't get clipped 4 minutes off of it. No, it isn't.
Ugh.
It's 100. Yeah, no, you're right. 144.
Yeah, 140.
Yeah,
A tight 144.
I bet it's not tight.
Why are these movies all so long?
They're- Especially ironic from somebody that moves fast.
Ugh.
Yeah. And we'll probably go see Barbie this weekend.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to see that.
Everybody,
If I had to pick between that and Oppenheimer, I'd rather see that just because it seems like a reasonable length.
the theater chain that I went to see Oppenheimer on opening weekend sent me an email like being like, "Thank you for helping create the Barbenheimer phenomenon," and I was like,
boy.
"You're welcome."
Now I regret showing up for this.
Right.
I don't know. I like Greta Gerwig's other couple of movies that I've seen from her are pretty damn good. So Lady Bird's fantastic. Frances Ha is also quite good. Also, movies of reasonable length.
I heard her version of Little Women was also supposed to be very good.
Yeah.
That is what I heard. But I haven't seen
Man,
it.
Lady Bird's 94 minutes. That's what I'm saying.
They didn't have money for more minutes.
don't-
Yeah, but you know what? It's perfect.
Turns
It's
out-
like that's like a
turns
perfect
out
movie. It's like a perfect
Limitations.
length.
How long?
like a perfect
How
movie.
long was the menu? Because that was one of my favorite movies from last year, and I feel like it was under 2 hours as well.
It's all
Francis
good.
Ha, 86 minutes.
I did enjoy that movie. That was good.
Those are fucking great movies. You should watch those. You can
an hour
watch
and
both of those
47.
movies in less time than it would take to watch that other movie.
The menu is an hour and 47 minutes.
See, there you go.
I thought you said the Minions.
That's a different movie.
No, those are all over
Dark
3
Those
hours.
are all, yeah, those are.
I recently watched that latest Puss in Boots movie with my son. That was pretty good.
I saw that too. You know what? Another reasonably length movie that is, yeah, that's quite good.
I will say the bad guy was maybe a little scarier than I was expecting.
Were you scared by the villain in the Puss in Boots movie, Mike?
It's
Or...
pretty fucked up.
I mean, he does some pretty nasty shit.
Yeah.
All right, so
I
I,
mean,
can
really-
revive for 2000.
Not even the Jimmy Stewart Jiminy Cricket can manage to turn him.
I was so glad he
Right.
didn't smush that guy though.
Florence Pugh is in that movie.
Which one?
What's that?
The Puss in Boots, yeah.
Oh, I don't care. I
that
think
was
it's dumb that they
also-
get Hollywood actors to do voice acting.
She was in Oppenheimer.
All of her
I
was
didn't
in
realize it
Oppenheimer.
was- She did, for sure. I was not expecting that.
Lawrence Pugh is great.
She is great.
Yeah.
I wish her.
She's
all
also in Little
success.
Women, and she's also great in that.
Yeah.
Now I said that, but to be fair, she actually was pretty good in Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
I
hear what you're saying,
Goldilocks,
but I
She might-
think-
she was Goldilocks, right?
Yeah,
that-
I hear what you're saying. I think it depends on who the actor is and what they're doing, right? If it's, this person, right? And they're one note or whatever, that's one thing. If they're actually acting, then it can be good. But, voice acting and non-voice acting are not the same skill, so they don't translate. Someone can be good at one and not the other.
Yeah, I mean, some people do it well.
If you didn't know that was Florence Pugh, you would just.
I didn't know it was
really,
Florence Pugh. I saw it in the credits.
really-
I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's like a really excellent voice acted performance.
Yeah.
right.
And also, like Puss in Boots doesn't work if you don't have Antonio Banderas
No, that's-
in there.
that's for
Antonio Banderasing the shit
Yeah,
out of everything.
That's right. He must crank it up to the full Antonio Banderas level.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited for the new Alien movie? I wasn't even aware there was a new Alien movie.
I mean, the last
There hasn't been a good one in many years.
4, 5 of them haven't been good. So 6,
Yeah.
6-ish of them haven't been good. So
Yeah,
Counting the Prometheuses. then
yes,
they're not good.
Alien Covenant, Prometheus, Alien vs Predator 2, Alien vs Predator 1, Alien Resurrection, and Alien 3. None of those movies are very good. So
Time could be the one. Put that football down.
It's
Come on,
time
Joe.
for sure, Rocky.
That's literally what I was about to say.
I mean, I don't like. I was when they were talking about Neil Blomkamp doing like a thing that was like a direct sequel to Aliens. I was like, oh, that could be interesting. I mean, Chappie was garbage, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
He's at least got a point of view, and
yeah. District
some
9
skill.
was very good.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't actually know. I don't think I know anything about whatever is going on with the current one. So I feel like I've heard a
IMDb
bunch
says
of
it's coming
different
out
things.
Next year, and there's almost no details.
That's what you like to see in a movie that's coming out next year.
What's that?
There's basically
There's
no
almost
details.
no details on IMDb.
That
There won't be-
was.
listen, there is no chance that movie comes out next year.
I'll say that was.
I
Isn't
mean,
that,
there might not
that's-
be any movies that come out next year. At the rate we're going with the writer strike and the
Yeah.
actor strike.
Yeah.
So
He wrote the Evil Dead remake. a plus. The director, sorry.
Who's that? The guy that's supposed to
The
be
guy that's directing this wrote Don't Breathe, Evil Dead.
Oh, Fede Alvarez?
Yeah.
But he's not directing it?
He is directing it, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
He didn't direct those other things as far as I can tell.
He directed the Evil Dead remake.
Oh, it's, yeah, this interface is garbage.
Actually, he also
Yes.
directed Don't Breathe, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the way that this is presented on IMDb is not helping me.
Yeah, well, then I my curiosity is at least piqued if Fede Alvarez is doing the new Alien movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, how'd you feel about that Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
He didn't actually direct that though, did he?
Didn't he write? I think he
He
thought he-
wrote it.
Yeah.
He did not direct it. Story by, he didn't even write it. So I think that generally means he potentially wrote a script that they completely rewrote after the fact. Alice Creed was in that?
Was in what?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I didn't see it. I've had enough. I refuse at this point. Just
Speaking of
on
this
principle
time for sure,
to
Rocky.
see. There were two of that's another one. There were two of those that were good. The last one came out, I think, the same year as Aliens. So we're working on a similar average.
But what if you got some backstory
No, stop.
about why
Stop
this
it.
person is tortured and fucked up? What if we made your anti-hero force of nature into something stupid?
Michael Jordan,
movie
stop
wasn't
it. Get some help. .gif.
The movie was good.
What's that?
Prey.
But Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Prey was fucking
Oh yeah, Prey was good. But you know what? Except for the
That's like
AVP movies,
That's like the Kissing Cousins franchise. to
right?
Aliens.
Except for the AVP movies, all of those movies are to some degree at least watchable. Like even The Predator,
movies?
yeah. Like even
I
The
guess
Predator
2
was
is-
watchable.
Predator 2 is a pretty tough hang.
It's
It
got-
just gets more. It just gets more racist as time goes on. So it's like even the campiness of it is like not as easy because Nextlander rewatched they watched it for like I think they did all the Predator movies or I don't know they at least did Prey in that and I rewatched it for that. It was like this isn't even as much of a fun bad movie as it was when I saw it like 20 years
Last one
ago.
of those I saw was Predators.
That was better than The Predator, which was the Shane Black one, but I still thought The Predator was like fine. I would like to see a director's cut of The Predator because it feels like there was stuff that got cut left on the cutting room floor.
What an impossibly poorly titled series.
Yes. Predator 2. All right, we're doing okay so far. Predators. Huh?
Okay.
The
It's like
Predator.
Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
And then The Predator, and then
Now what's and then Prey, yeah.
yeah.
Prey kind of makes sense if it hadn't come after, a bunch of them.
Right.
Like if the
that.
second one had been
Also
called
under-
Prey, that would have
Under 100 minutes long.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Also totally bogus that fucking Disney didn't put that in theaters. Just saying.
Yeah. I know. Oh, I've finally finished Annihilation.
The
I started,
movie?
like 5 years ago.
The
no,
book.
the book.
Ah.
I bought the book
How-
like 4 years
how-
ago, and then
how
I
did-
had like 20.
How did you
pages.
enjoy the finish out?
That's good.
Finishing it?
That's good.
It is
I think I think I like the movie more than the book, which is a rare one of those. The book's also quite good. I mean, they're in conversation with each other, but
Right.
they're not really the same. They're barely even really the same story, honestly.
Yeah.
But it was good. I don't know if I'm gonna continue on with the series or not, but
I read all three, and I enjoyed the first one the most. I enjoyed the other ones, but I enjoyed the first one by far the most.
I might check it out at some point. I don't. Finally the latest John Dies at the End book is coming to
Yep.
like trade paperback. I
Yep.
think it just came out or is out. It's out this week, so I'm gonna get that. Finally read that. I think.
Yeah, so I haven't.
And then also, oh, sorry, Joe.
I would say this book is full of spiders. Was the last one of those that I read.
So you're 2 behind now.
I'm 2 behind now.
The,
Okay.
the third one I thought was not that great. Probably the weakest of the David Wong books.
I assume the first one is still the best one.
Yeah, that one. I like that a lot. I like this book is full of spiders quite a bit. I like both the Zoe Ash books. I think
Both
are
of the
really
Zoe
good.
ones are really good. Yeah, I
But
agree.
the third John dies at the end. I barely remember.
Yeah, I think I agree with the, it wasn't quite as good as the other ones. I recall enjoying it, but not as much.
Yeah.
And then there's actually,
There's a new Zoe Ash book that just came
there
out.
is,
but-
yeah. Whoops.
I just finished a trilogy of sci-fi novels by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and I've been wanting to recommend some of his work to Kurt forever, but it can be extremely spider-centric in the series that I initially wanted to recommend, but this other series is not spider-centric, and maybe you would enjoy it.
Wait, that guy looks an awful lot like an Adrian Tchaikovsky.
Is it the Children of ones or
No, the Children of Ones. There be spiders.
spiders?
Children of
The
Spiders.
Shards of the Earth is the series that just finished pretty recently, and I thought it wrapped up pretty well actually. And it's still sci-fi. It's less grounded. It's more like I don't know, far-flung, high tech kind of stuff.
Okay.
Fairly brisk, fairly actiony.
It's good.
Like that.
But
And
I
any
like that
genre
author a
that tends to
lot.
Get bogged down.
I still think Children of Time is probably, well, sorry, actually, I think the second book in the Children of Time series is the best one of his that I've read, but I just can't recommend it to Kurt in good conscience.
Children of Ruin. I did finish Piranesi.
Oh, yeah.
Talked about that a while back.
Any thoughts?
I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I would honestly.
At first, I did not think I was going to, as I was reading it, because I'm not sure what it is, but there was this book and then there was a previous book. So many people in sci-fi fandom circles say that Ian Banks is really great.
Oh, yes, I've been recommended him, The Culture.
And yeah, I didn't read a culture book. I read a different book of his, and it bugged me. I finished reading it, but it bugged me just on how it was written, because it was a first person perspective with someone that I had like no sympathy for, and they were really unpleasant, and it was just almost sort of semi-stream of consciousness thing, and it just bugged me to read it.
From the perspective of someone who sucks.
Yeah, and
Which
they
book was
suck
it?
for good reasons. It's called
I-
the Wasp Factory.
I don't know
Which
if
is
I
his
read a
first-
couple of his books like along like when I was in high school,
Yeah. I mean,
and I thought that it was a little like kind of too dry.
yeah, the character is a psychopath.
I can't remember if it was that
Okay.
one.
And so yeah, it wasn't it didn't work for me, and so this book gave me echoes of that at first, not strongly enough that I like wanted to stop, but it took me a little bit to sort of get through until things started to evolve.
The character in Piranesi came across as a psychopath to you?
No, it was told in a similar first-person
okay.
style,
Yes.
in which you were like, "What the fuck is going on here? This person has a weird perspective. What's happening?" So that's the only parallel there. I'm not talking about it in anything, but like there are other first-person narratives that I've read and I enjoyed a lot. So it's not that aspect of it. There's something about how it all played out that somehow tweaked me a little bit, but I did.
It does.
In the
It
end,
has a bit of a
really
slow
enjoy it.
start, too.
Yep.
But I will say, I think it's one of my favorite books that I've read in like the last 5 years, or five or so years since I started reading again.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Also, for Eric's benefit, it's very short.
That up.
Yeah, 200 pages, maybe not even 200.
I don't mind a long book.
Can you read it in less than 90 minutes? Is the question.
I don't mind a long
Possibly.
book. I just finished the Wind Up Bird Chronicle, and that was great. So
Yep, that's good stuff.
I first person books about people that are jerks.
American Psycho.
Austin Walker is on a new podcast with Cameron Kunzelman and Mike. Is it Kurtz? I forget that Michael Lutz, I think his name is. But they started a genre fiction podcast, and the first one that they're doing is Gene Wolfe's The Book of the New Sun. And so
Okay.
I've also been rereading that along with them, and so I read the first book and then like the first third of the second book.
I picked that up
And-
after you and I talked about it quite a while back, but I still haven't gotten around to
Holds up.
I was all set to dive into that because I wanted to be able to listen to the podcast, but then I read the content warnings on the book, and I'm like, huh.
I mean, the main character is like a torturer and an executioner, but I don't know. It's
Not in a bad way.
It isn't. I mean, it's not. If you've read a lot of fantasy or like, it is definitely it is intentionally playing with a lot of fantasy tropes, and it is being written as like a memoir of this main character named Severian, who is an executioner and a torturer, and is like really high on his own supply. Like, that's kind of the only kind of characters that Gene Wolfe writes for the most part. Is like most of his books are characters that are unreliable narrators in some way or another, and this guy is like a he's just like constantly, I don't know that he's necessarily lying, but he's just like obscuring things or leaving things out, and then also like often within a few dozen pages he'll like tattle on himself. So you'll read something and then he'll say something later that like shows the incongruity in his previous statements, even though he's like, and he's also constantly telling you how perfect his memory is, but then also like
Demonstrating that's not true.
well, either it's not true, or he's, like I said, intentionally obfuscating, or that he's like
Deflecting.
prone to these fits of like disassociating and like losing himself in his own head in a way that's like dude, you don't have a perfect memory, you're just like full of your own shit. It's and also like the setting is it's like the setting is like several generations of human empire in the future. Like, it is like as distant from us as, I mean, it might even be like so far distant that it is like not realistic. Like, I don't know. I don't want to give too much away, because part of the enjoyment of reading the books is like understanding, like kind of figuring out what the setting is like. But yeah, I think those books are still great. And then getting to listen to a 3-hour podcast
That's so tempting.
of not
what I want.
per book, but per like 100 pages of these 300-page books. So like the first book has like, I think 4 episodes and like 10 plus hours of podcast dedicated to breaking down every little intricacy and nuance. And it's that talk for, because I can listen to those podcasts while I'm at work or while I'm walking. It is like the ideal situation for me.
It'll make me buy that book right now.
Yeah, and I think I've still enjoyed the books. I think that they are, because of the perspective that Gene Wolfe is telling them from, and because it is set in a society with a bunch of stuff that doesn't exist. Like it's a first-person perspective of a fantasy/sci-fi setting. So it's like this character understands how the world works, but you don't, and so especially your first time through, it can be a little bit hard to figure out exactly what's going on. But
There's always a certain level of proper noun fatigue anytime you start up a sci-fi or
Yeah.
fantasy series.
But like, one of the reasons I like Gene Wolfe is that he just immerses you in it, because like I said, most of his books are told from a first person perspective. So like instead of pages of exposition like explaining to you what it is, they're like he just kind of like gives you enough context clues to maybe figure it out and maybe not. And then that's part of what makes it such a like it's an A+ pick for a podcast that's gonna just like pick it apart because there's so many little bits and pieces and different ways to interpret what's happening. It's great. So I highly recommend that book. I highly recommend that podcast. And I don't know. I'm glad to have a little more Austin Walker podcasting in my life because I have not had enough of that since he left Waypoint.
Sure. I mean, wanting Austin Walker podcast got me to watch a season and a half of the Clone Wars.
I only listened to the Andor part of that podcast.
Well, first of all, listening to the episodes they did on the Star Wars prequels, which if you've seen them once, you probably remember.
Oh,
enough.
I didn't know. I didn't go back in the podcast feed. I didn't realize there were prequels ones.
Oh heck yeah! And the thing is, they actually planned at first on doing the first two and then waiting to do the third one until after completing the Clone Wars, so that they could see them in chronological order. But that doesn't happen.
Okay. I should go back and check those out, I guess.
Yeah, and the Clone Wars, I'm not sure that I have it in me to watch that, like 7 seasons of that show just to get good podcasts out of it. And I think at some point they start to repeat themselves a little more than they do, because it's just such a long show. Yeah. But, it was pretty cool to hear them dissecting all that stuff.
The breakdown of Andor is great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Andor is great.
I'd say Andor is great.
Yeah. Andor is probably the best thing that I've seen in the last 5 years, I think. Or at least my favorite. Start to finish. That and the
Forward to season 2 in 2033.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, you could almost listen to that. You could almost listen to the book podcast without reading the book.
Oh, I might read the book.
If you don't want to, but you should. It's worth checking out, I think.
It mostly depends on how much does it linger and revel in the
it
or
does
is it like business like?
No. It is. I mean, that's his profession, so he's not like
he's just like
I did this and this and this. Yes, it is like very much so like that.
It's like
in fact, a lot of times it's just like you'll get the name of the thing, and it's like a 3-word. All
the dreaded Rear Admiral.
Yeah, something. Yeah, it's like that. It's like you don't even really know what it is. The torture is, but
right.
But also, there's a duel with these flowers. So like in the city that surrounds the tower that the main character is trained to be a torturer in, there's like a tradition of dueling, but the duels to like have the duel you have to go into this like special garden and pick a flower, and then the flowers are like they like hate living creatures, so you have to like it's credible stuff. It's like you have to like you go and then you like pick. Do you want to pick like a big flower so it's like got more reach, or do you want like a shorter flower so you get like more dexterity, and then you want to try and like hit your opponent with it, and that'll poison them and they die. It's great.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's great.
I did read. Speaking of TV shows, I did read through the first of the Slow Horses books a little while back.
Nice. Do you like that?
It was all right. It's I think they made some smart decisions in making the TV show. They also punched up the ending a lot. The ending in the book is kind of flat. Well,
I mean, it's all about the spine, not the action.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Is the show also? Am I just not aware?
I like the show a lot.
What's the show called though?
Slow
Horses. It's called Slow Horses.
They're both called Slow Horses.
Well, the first book in the series is Slow Horses, and then after that, the series changes name. It's like the Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah.
Like that was one book title in the series. But yeah, the TV show is super fun.
I mean,
Was that?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So in the second, I agree generally with you in the first season, but I like the second book a lot more than the second season of the show.
Okay.
Still definitely worth watching if you like some.
The first season is more
light
smiley Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy-ish.
Yeah.
Whereas the second season is more James Bondish, I feel like, from the perspective of the kind of thing that they're going after tonally.
I don't. They're very like the books are like 300 pages long, and they're like really easy to get through. Like
yeah, and the seasons are only 6 episodes, so they're also pretty easy to get through.
Yeah.
I found the second season a little harder to follow. There were definitely some times in the second season where I was pretty confused.
I watched it with my mom, and I definitely found myself going like
Fielded a lot of questions.
Yeah, explaining the plot because I had already read the book, so I knew more about what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely I liked the second book more than the first book, and
okay.
I
imagine it'll be a crime of opportunity.
Like the books have like a real dry British sense of humor to them, and that's something that really clicks with me. So I like those books a lot. That's also like I really want to get to the third book in the series. I need to go to a bookstore.
But the books don't have the scientist.
Scientist?
I thought that was one of the best gags from the first season of the show. His Min's busted car stereo.
Oh yeah, yes. I know what you're talking about.
And then they bring it back in the second season, and it's extremely good
It's
where
a
they
great
place that
payoff
joke.
for that joke. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Well, I'm glad that you think the books get better. I kind of enjoyed reading it. It was an easy read, but I also didn't feel like I got much more out of the book than I got from the series, which is, normally you kind of want to feel when you read a book like you're getting some extra depth or something.
Yeah,
So,
I like I said, the second book is both better than the first book and better than its season. Whereas I'd put the first book and the first season of the show kind of on equal footing. But I don't. Given Joe that you love Gary Oldman so much, you really.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he really gets to cook
Yeah.
in both seasons.
Yep.
It's one of those things where if you just want to see Gary Oldman it up for 45 minutes a pop, then it's definitely worth checking out just for that.
Fair enough. What is it?
I will say the very first
on
it's-
Apple
it's- it was-
TV.
Yeah.
The
I will say
one-
the very
the one that
first
I don't
episode of the
have.
first season I didn't think was very good.
What's
I
that?
kind of watched the first episode of the first season. I remember thinking like, oh yeah, okay. And then after I watched the second one, they really kicking into gear. So be a little patient with it.
If you do have the Apple TV, there's a show going on right now called Hijack with
Hijack's great.
Idris
Idris
Elba.
Elba.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Another like garbage TV show.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is not like deep or anything like that. It's just a good sort of thriller story. That
I just want Idris Elba to be in something good since The Wire.
You don't want to see him fight a lion?
I mean, he was in
what's
Pacific
the-
Rim,
oh.
dude. I mean, but
Yeah, that movie was kind of not very good.
that movie rules.
Have you
man.
watched Luther?
Yeah, Luther.
I have not watched Luther. Maybe
Luther
I need
is
to
real
watch
good.
Luther.
Luther's real good. It's
That a show
it's a British police procedural where he's the main sort
He's
of
the Luther.
yeah.
He is Luther. It's true.
It's
He was
tonally more like a Swedish mystery thing where the main character isn't great, but is a really good detective. But he's
Isn't
really
that
good.
how detectives work? They're terrible people who are good at solving crimes.
Yeah,
Wow, there's a lot of these.
Yeah, Luther went on for a long time, I think.
yeah.
I mean, it's also British, so the seasons are like three
Yeah.
or four seasons or 3 or 4 episodes.
Episodes or something like that. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Where is that you guys,
It's on Netflix, I think, right? Isn't it in the US?
It has been for sure.
that's one I don't
Comes
have.
and go.
I just subscribe to whichever one I'm watching something on at the time.
Yep.
The rest.
I think I'm about to switch from Paramount maybe back to Hulu because Res Dogs is coming out.
Oh yeah.
Last season of Reservoir Dogs.
I watched a little bit of that.
And
Reservation
Reservoir
Dogs.
Or yeah,
Reservoir Dogs is very different.
Reservation Dogs is fantastic. That actually might be the best, consistently the best show of the last few years. So the best. So I think I really like that a lot.
I watched Andor and Severance and Slow Horses back to back, and I thought that I had just watched me a whole bunch of good TV.
Severance is good too, yeah.
Severance is good.
I like Severance a lot.
I don't know
Slow
what season.
Horses,
I
Severance,
like
and Hijack are definitely worth signing up to Apple TV for a couple of months for.
Yeah.
Especially because Apple TV is dirt cheap, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like $6. But then there isn't a ton of other stuff on there. It's pretty much just Apple's.
Well, it's enough to keep you busy for a month or two.
Oh yeah.
I like Ted Lasso a lot.
I liked the first season of Ted
Yeah.
Lasso a lot.
Second season kind of put me off the show.
Yeah, I didn't finish the third season. I really didn't like it. It got way too like corny, melodramatic. I still liked those characters. I kind of just wanted better for them. I wanted it to be more. I wanted it to stay in the Arrested Development lane, but it just got too serious at a certain point.
That first season stands
can understand
very
that.
well on its own if anyone just wants to
Agree.
watch that.
Yeah.
Agree.
That's great.
It's such a uplifting.
Aaron and I
show.
watched it twice in the space of like a week.
Really?
First season
Yeah.
of Ted
Yeah,
Lasso.
when it came out, shortly after it came out, I was like, I keep hearing about this, and so I watched like one episode on my own. I was like, you might want to watch this, and we watched one, and then we just shotgunned them all over like 2 days, and then like 3 days later, it's like I kind of want to watch that again. She's like, yeah, I'm good with that, so we watched it again.
Nice. I've heard Silo is good.
My favorite bit on that is that in the first episode, they have the encounter with Roy, and then he leaves, and Ted says something like, you know, when we finally win him over, and then Coach Beard is like, he's gonna be furious, and that is literally exactly what happens. He gets so mad that they win him over. I've heard good things about Silo as well. We haven't started watching it yet.
Well, as I was saying to Eric, I won't have time for any TV until we finish Great Ace Attorney, which is functionally occupying the role
We're
of a
almost
TV
there,
show.
Mike.
Yeah, but it's long. It's
It's
like,
very long.
Back to that.
if there's, I have a case
That's
and a
what I
half.
was
That's
saying.
got to be like 6 hours, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
I feel like the last case in Ace Attorney games is always like 7 million hours long.
I don't think that one's too bad.
It's no Ace Attorney Investigations final case.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not like it's over. Oh no, wait. Twist.
That one was
Oh no,
just
wait.
like-
Twist. Oh no, wait. It was actually this. Oh no, wait.
That was like a parody, that one, where they just kept adding one more twist over and over again.
Yeah, I liked a lot of stuff about that game, but it was definitely a little bit. It was like I went back and forth, where I couldn't tell if they were taking the piss. They were taking the piss, and that was fun, but it was also just too much.
I kind of wish I'd like to eventually play the second of those, which I've heard is better, but never got officially translated. But it has been.
Yeah, there's a
translated.
fan. Yeah, I guess,
They might eventually put it out. They're doing the collection with Ace Attorney 4, 5, and 6 now.
That might be one of the only ones that hasn't come out here.
Has anyone played the updated Ghost Trick at all?
Not the new one.
I played the demo of it. Like there was a demo during the Next Fest, and it's Ghost Trick.
It's still just they
What
didn't
you can
fuck
play
with it too
here.
much.
No, I don't. I don't know. I don't. For some reason, I don't like they smooth the polygonal characters out a little bit, so it kind of like the rotoscoping.
So it doesn't look like you
weird
upscaled
or
the
something.
DS game onto a.
Yeah, it doesn't. It
2K
no,
computer
it looks
monitor.
it looks totally fine. It's not like ugly or anything, but it's Ghost Trick, man. play it.
Yeah, I mean,
Play
its
it.
Ghost Trick is already basically all you need to hear.
Yeah, that's really...
Fucking masterpiece.
Best roast chicken in a video game.
Best corgi in a video game.
100%.
Pomeranian. Top Pomeranian.
Best underwater level in a video game.
Oh.
That's not hard. That's
That bar's low.
yeah, bar's extremely
Also
low
agree.
on
But
that.
But still, agree.
You're talking to a Subnautica fan, so I'm not sure I can give it that. But
Well, that's not a level. That's a whole game. The whole game is that's different.
Subnautica, Dave the Diver, and Ghost Trick, the 3 best underwater video games.
I guess I've got a type now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Ghost Trick is just so.
It's great.
Yeah, it's so tight. It's just like it's a perfect little video game package.
When I replayed it, I found that the first part, like the first half of the game, was good, but just good. But then, as it goes on, it just gets better and better, and the ending is phenomenal.
Yep.
When I say the ending, I mean like the last third of the game, basically.
Yeah. I don't shout out to Shoot Takumi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to know what that guy's up to these days. Unless it's just remastering Ace Attorney 4, 5, and 6.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean the second Ace Attorney game came out like 2016.
Well, he didn't do those himself to begin with, did he?
He didn't do 5 and 6. He did do 4.
He did the first 3 and the Apollo Justice one. And he did that weird Leighton Phoenix Wright crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He worked on that, and then he did the Great Ace Attorney games and Ghost Trick.
And he did like a bunch of quest design for Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, it does say that.
That's
yeah,
right,
it does say-
yeah.
I'm looking at his Wikipedia page, yeah.
But yeah, I sure hope that they're. I mean, I think apparently those games are all selling really well, like all those packages and remasters and things. So
Yeah.
I assume that means more Ace Attorney in the future. And I hope it's good. That's all I want out of life is good Ace Attorney.
I still haven't played. I played through about. I stalled out on the like kind of transphobic case in 5, and then never played 6.
Yeah, 5 is not the best, although the DLC case is really good in 5. 6 is better than 5.
I like
not as
4
well.
a lot, but
4 is very good. I think in both Ace Attorney trilogies, the second one is kind of the bad one.
well, original Ace Attorney 2 is the one with that fucking circus case, right?
Sure is.
Good God. I don't
Yeah,
even
there's
remember the rest of the
games-
cases in that fucking
Games.
game.
So the end of 2 is the one with the like robot butler guy in the bomb. You remember
You're
that?
literally talking to a radio, aren't you, for a lot of that one?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yep.
I mean, 2 is just the weakest of the first 3, and 5 is by the second trilogy overall maybe not as good as the first trilogy, but the second of the second trilogy is the worst of those. But 6 is worth your time if you like the series, although not as worth your time as Great Ace Attorney. I feel like I've said the word attorney too many times.
Checks
Great Ace
out.
Attorney is great though.
Ghost Trick soundtrack, man. Some real bangers on there.
I'm gonna download, put the Great Ace Attorney soundtrack on my phone so I listen to it tomorrow when I'm at work. Although the newest episode of Shelved by Genre is supposed to come out tomorrow, so 3 hours of listening to them dunk on Severian. Wait,
Is that the main character?
that's the main character, yeah. He's such a lovable little chowderhead. And also, I mean, also a terrible person, but
The chowder in the head that does that to you. Occludes the moral centers of the brain.
I don't. Are you still on the same run, Joe?
I'm still on the same run. This is the last. This is the last gang, and then I assume there's like a 5th level shadow boss that opens up when I finish this. But I will say, I definitely screwed up because I know that the last run that I played to the end when I like ran out of money to continue was this boss, the higher level version of this boss. I think I fought her 3rd in that run, and she whooped my ass. So I'm actually kind of worried that I may have chosen poorly and I should have gone after her earlier because she's tough.
I'm surprised you're still going. We're almost at midnight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the conversation was flowing, and I'm having a good run. So why stop it? You know.
Word.
Oh, I've been playing a game on Game Pass called The Bookwalker: Thief of Tales.
Okay.
Which is extremely
There's a video game name.
It extremely has the vibes of a like a late 90s adventure game, like The Longest Journey or Siberia.
Okay.
That kind of thing, but it's not like quite a full-on adventure game. You start out like your first person and your guy is under arrest or something. It doesn't really explain what's happening, but then you talk to a guy on the phone who's like, I can get you out, I can break the cuffs and get you out of your 30-year sentence, but first you have to do these 7 jobs for me. And then your guy's like, 7? I thought it was only going to be 1. And they're like, well, we're sending the first one over to see if you can handle it. And so they send a silver briefcase that like shows up outside your door, and then you open the briefcase up, and inside is like a book review and a book and like a magical box. And then you open the book and you like get sucked into the book, and your task is to steal a potion of immortality from the book.
Oh, bring it to the real world.
So it goes from this like first person perspective thing where you can like wander around the guy's apartment building and talk to the neighbors and stuff, and then you go into this like isometric perspective view of the events that are happening in the book, and then that's where it becomes like more like an old adventure game where you like find things in the environment. And then there's also like a very simple like turn-based combat system, but it's been mostly just a distraction and not really a. It's like you do like 1 or 2 fights per level so far that I've seen. But it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's like one of those things that it's like the stakes are really low, and it's just like a weird thing that I've never seen anything quite like before. But there's also like a point where in the first book you're in a weird, it's like a prison slash research lab, and you find a hole that like a wall with a hole in it, but you can't break through, and you can't find anything in the research lab to break it. But your character's like, well, I think my neighbor has a sledgehammer, and so then you can exit the book and then go talk to the neighbor and borrow his sledgehammer.
Oh wow.
And then take it back into the book.
Oh shit, okay. She's got samurai armor now. She did not have samurai armor the last time I fought her. So.
Is that because she's the final boss now?
I think that there's...
Or just like the final...
And she killed me in 1 shot. I have enough money to continue 1 more time though, so...
Saw her name go by and I thought it was O Canada.
But yeah, the first one is like like you're trying to chase down the scientists and steal this. It's like a bunch of like... you see like the aftermath of his experiments to make the potion of immortality, and it's like a pretty fucked up thing. And then in the second one, you're at this place where all these like sad little Nier kind of style robots. It's good.
There's one that I haven't played, but I heard them talking about on the Nextlander podcast, and it was is it the Banished Vault? I think they were talking about, and I just thought it was funny because they're going on like, well, it's like a sci-fi game where it's a run-based kind of roguelike thing, and it's a strategy game, and it's all kind of like a worker placement Euro board game, and I'm just like living out the Vince McMahon meme as they're describing this game. With every time they add another adjective, I'm like, oh.
I think that's on my. I think I downloaded a demo of that, but never played it. I think that's a Biffle thing, right?
Is it?
I think that's why I downloaded the demo.
What's it called?
The Banished Vault? Oh, it is a Biffle game. Oh. Now I'm like doubly interested in checking that out. Although it's funny, I think
it's published by Biffle, but it's not.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the only like Biffle game that I've actually played, I think, was it Thomas Was Alone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, that was it was like a pretty interesting indie game.
Yep.
10 years ago.
Extreme like mid 2000s indie game vibes off that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I should probably check that out at some point. But I got diving to do.
Oh yeah, that just came out.
I will say I'm a little sad that I haven't clicked more with Songs of Conquest. Like on paper, that game seems like it should be 100% my jam, and I just kind of haven't been super into it. I don't think it's any fault of its own. I just think maybe just kind of not in the mood for that kind of game right now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine. Did you finish the first Ladies
I finished
Quest?
like 2 missions, I think. And they were like
You really just got through the tutorial.
I can't remember. Maybe I finished 3 missions. Like, yes, it's tutorial, but it's also like fairly long to do all that. What is it? Steam says I've played 4.5 hours. Although 45 minutes of that or 1 hour of that was dicking around in the multiplayer mode with you. But
I think that's my game of the year right now.
Which one?
Songs of Conquest.
I'll try to get back into it at some point.
I played 13 hours. But I finished the first two like chapters.
Is this going to turn out that the mayor is the shadow boss?
Oh no!
Join the mayor to receive $10,000 in the game. No. Yes.
Don't do it. Don't join the Dragon Lord.
There, yep, he's the shadow boss. There we go.
Man, I hope Baldur's Gate 3 turns out.
You and me both.
Because I need something. Because man, this is going to be like worse than 2014. This is going to be the first year in a long time where I'm like,
where you're bummed about games.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything this year.
Wow. I don't want to be mean, but I think that may be a you problem.
I don't know, man. We got a boring retread of a Zelda game and like a disappointing sequel to Remnant, and I don't know.
I mean, Alex seems to really be enjoying Remnant too.
Yeah, well, he's got something wrong with his brain.
I mean, we've known that.
That's no known quantity at this point.
There's like a short circuit in his brain, and as soon as you insert a randomly generated item,
it needs,
lights up every switch on the switchboard.
If it's anything like a Souls game, which and it's really not anything like a Souls game, really. But
Eric, how can you say this about the year that's gifted you Exoprimal?
I liked Exoprimal. I don't think anybody else did, but
I like it.
It's fine. I didn't hate it.
As of right now, it's probably on my list.
Well, there's...
Save me, Silk Song. Where are you?
I enjoyed the bits of it that I played.
You got a Silk Song. You've got a Risk of Rain coming
out. Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's the old Risk of Rain, Joe. Come on.
Yes, but it's the old Risk of Rain that doesn't require sacrificing a goat to get the multiplayer to work.
I guess, but that feels like a weak candidate for Game of the Year.
You know what? I really liked Home Safety Hotline. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully that comes out this year. I need to play Day of the Diver. That is.
I mean, I don't want to oversell it. I just also really like playing it.
Well, yeah. I played the. There was.
Also the Resident Evil 4 remake
last year that I played. I liked it. I was not expecting it to be, you know, well, 30 hours long, but be like as well received as it is. But it seemed like one of those things that was gonna be like, oh yeah, this is like a nice little indie thing, but
It clearly has a certain amount of budget to it,
yeah.
just from the number of like pixel art cutscenes that they put in.
Oh, and Viewfinder is really great.
Viewfinder is good.
People should check that
Yes,
out.
I would like to get to that
Yeah.
one.
Which one is?
I like a good.
Which one
I
is
like
that?
I like a good that like fucks with your brain a little bit.
So
Viewfinder is you almost have to see it to understand what's happening.
So-
Although it's not particularly hard. It's like a first-person puzzle game, kind of like Antechamber or The Witness.
Sure.
But you're using like photographs. So like when you hold the photograph up to the background, the photograph becomes like a space that you can walk into and interact with, and also overwrites
Based on
the part
the-
of the background that you
based on the
look at.
perspective as you hold it up.
Right.
So like if you take if you have a picture that has something in the distance, depending on where you place it, you'll have, you know, it may or may not connect to what you're overwriting.
Right.
So you got to sort of
You can make it
figure
big
out
or
the right
small depending
perspective.
on where you put it.
Yeah.
You like take a
Like-
Polaroid of a thing, and then you can use that to.
I mean, the example at the start of the game is like there's a gap here, but I have a picture of a bridge. So if you line the
Yes.
picture of the bridge up in the right way, and then the bridge cements itself into the real world, and you can walk across it.
Yep.
In
It
3D.
it does a. It's only like maybe 5 hours long, but it definitely. Actually, you know, the thing it reminded me the most of is that Gorogoa game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's like a
okay.
3D one of those.
like a lateral thinking kind of.
Yes, and it does a really great job of like
Is it like Echo Chrome, but it actually delivers on the premise? Or
I mean kind of, but it's not you don't really have to do any platforming or anything. You just have to you get a little but it's just like they do a great job of not just making you do the same thing over and over again, but more difficult. You know, like they take that basic concept and then they give you a lot of really clever ways to interact with it.
Yeah, they iterate on the idea of it without just making it more complicated.
Yeah. There's some story stuff. in
What
there that I
what
really
happens
like.
if you're, you know, you can only do it in this way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to play that, and the fact that it's 5 hours long is perfect. That sounds
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
It's the 90-minute movie of video games.
There you
Exactly. Yes. God, please. I know. I can't watch fuck a 3-hour movie, but I'm gonna let's go with Baldur's Gate 3, which is 120 hours long.
just to get the first of whatever 1,000 endings or whatever.
Just turn those on when I'm doing
Oh, wait.
the
Well, I'm
9
thinking about
million
that.
hour combat sections in Baldur's Gate.
Thinking about it, I need to uninstall.
Yeah, make sure you
Oh no, it
delete your
turns out I
saves.
didn't install. Okay.
Okay. If you have any saves, you should make sure.
Yeah, I
you
never
delete
played
those,
it.
Apparently. Okay.
I did not bother playing it because I was like, well, I'm going to play it with you guys when it comes out. So I'll just wait.
When does it actually?
I thought I'd actually installed it.
When does
Tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? Okay.
Yep. I might take Friday off and play some of it. I don't know.
So Eric,
Hmm.
I don't want to trigger you.
Uh-oh.
Trigger me or activate.
Do you wish to have take control of our Elden Ring playthrough and push to the end?
What's that?
I get the sense that you're.
No, I don't care.
Okay.
We should probably just play.
I mean, I think we're close.
we can be close,
Yeah, and there's
but then we just found Butthole City,
yeah. Well,
which should take at least one session, I'm guessing.
I mean, we have that area, the
There's
Mogwin Palace.
it's the underground area.
So we have
in
Mogwin
the
Palace.
area.
We have the
area.
Halig Tree. The thing that's under the Halig Tree, I think. And I don't know that there's any major thing other than that. The little bit that I know, I'm not like I'm Alex. And then I think we run to the end. So it's not like we have a ton left overall, but
also,
it could be like 3 or 4 sessions. I thought we were gonna wait until they patched it.
Yeah, but what if it doesn't need a patch?
What if we didn't wait until they patched it?
Just more hijinks.
Yep.
Well, I hope you guys will enjoy playing that game until 2034 also.
Yeah. I mean, we put in...
Almost 100 hours in Elden Ring.
Yeah, no, I was going to talk about Divinity.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we put in easy like 150 hours in that game.
Wow, you've got over 100 hours in Elden Ring? That's longer than I spent on it.
I have 114 hours in Divinity, so...
My Elden Ring clock says 97 hours. And I pretty much almost exclusively played with you guys.
Right. Well, I have 100...
But we got to do the boss in... We got to do the boss in Volcano Manor. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I have 181 hours in Elden Ring, but I also played like 80 hours by myself.
Yeah.
And then I had to restart my character, so I did some catching up, and I lost that other save.
Yeah. What's mine doing? Say?
Mine was
107.
Yeah, mine was 114, but that doesn't sound right, because I played quite a bit of that by myself, also.
I feel like we played more than that. Like us, much less if you played by yourself.
I definitely played more than 7 hours by myself.
Not to get back to what's on the screen here, but Joe, if you were to eventually die in this run, do you get to like upgrade in a permanent fashion?
Do you die?
I have not seen any permanent upgrades yet. You cash out for more tokens that you can use to unlock like hidden characters.
Okay, but aside from new characters, you don't get stronger characters.
No, you can't. It's not like, oh, you died, you get a permanent upgrade for Billy or Jimmy or
more health or whatever.
Yeah.
Got the Dragon Ball Z armor guy on.
All right.
He's a member of
the New Day.
Yeah. No, what's the name of the something force? What are those guys with the weird armor call themselves?
Dragon Force.
Sure. Why not? I guess it's just called battle armor. The Frieza Force.
Of course.
King Cold was the leader of the Cold Force prior to passing control over to his son, causing him to remain the Frieza Force. Get it?
Regrettably, I do get it. Oh, he clapped for me. Thanks, bud.
Got the clap.
As someone who's theoretically going to get a free copy of Starfield if Best Buy ever sends it to me, I am curious to see how that game turns out. I don't know. I mean, I don't have high hopes because it's a Bethesda RPG, and those have never super been my bag, but I do like space an awful lot.
Let me tell you, in 2002, those were extremely my thing. Problem is, the big giant RPG game has changed a lot since then. With your Elden Rings and your Breath of the Wild and your Divinity Original Sins and
Your Witcher 3.
Not enough
there's
cash,
just a lot of-
stranger.
It's just a lot.
So you can use your
games
tokens
of-
to go back to the previous checkpoint, which is probably right
Yeah.
before that room, or you can just cash out and get the tokens. which
Because there was a time when Bethesda was the only people making games of that size, and they were notable just for that. But now there's like games with better exploration, like Witcher and Zelda, and there's games with better rating, and games that just do all the things that does with better games with big games that have actually good combat, like Elden Ring. You know, it's just
after Witcher 3, I don't know if I'll be able to stomach like characters staring blank faced at you and just reciting quest log 101.
You talk to all the NPCs in town, and they all have the same 5 pieces of dialogue.
I mean, that I
Where
tried.
did all this blood come from?
I tried Outer Worlds and I bounced off that after like just a handful of hours because it's like,
Yeah, that game was pretty. It was okay, but that's not good enough anymore. Good enough. Okay, just isn't good enough, especially for a game that's going to be 30, 40, 100 hours long or whatever.
Joe, I just saw free revive as one of the things you can unlock with tokens, so you can.
I mean, those are all categorized as tips, so I think it just tells you like how. I think that's how to do like the recovery, like the.
You hold select.
Oh, if you're playing like multiplayer.
Yeah. Between rounds, if you hold select, you can get some health back.
That's right.
Are you starting a new run, Joe?
I just bought Linda, so I just want to see how she plays. I'm not actually gonna.
Okay. All right. Well, it's getting pretty late, so
yeah, I'm gonna take 30 seconds to see how Linda plays, and then I'm gonna shut it down. So, but good night to you guys if you're taking off now.
Yep. Good night.
Good night.
Where?
I'll check out Linda. What's going on, Joe?
Not much, man. You know.
Let's do this.
How's this year landing for you? I always forget Resident Evil 4 came out. I don't know how that bodes for that, but pretty good.
Okay, we got whipping. That's kind of required for Linda Lash.
Yeah, I was gonna say she needs like a chain, right? Isn't that her whole thing?
Well, I mean, a whip. It's sometimes it's a chain whip and sometimes it's a leather whip. In Double Dragon 1, it was a leather whip. In Double Dragon 2, she got upgraded to a chain whip. So.
Okay. So yeah, that's the one I played the most. So.
Okay, so her whip now seems to have a knife on the
now
end
that
of it.
we're
It's like
further
a
on, she should have
scorpion.
upgraded to like a fire whip, right?
Or a thorn whip. Thorn whip, then fire whip, right?
Thorn whip, then fire whip, yeah. Well, thorn whip in 4, and then fire whip in this game, I think.
Yeah, she seems pretty good. She seems about what I guess I would have expected. So.
Nice haircut.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out. That's Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons.
And books
and books and movies and TV shows and all kinds of stuff. We'll be back next week with something else. I don't know. Maybe Baldur's Gate 3 next week.
Baldur's Gate. We'll probably check out some Baldur's Gate next week.
So look forward to that. I am gonna get some sleep. I'll see you next week.
Okay. Good night. Don't let the bed bugs bite.